Art crawl is awesome.
It's awesome. Carling, what do you think about art crawl?
I think it's awesome.
Welcome back to Asking Around with Tiana Dewick. This month I am exploring third places.
Why do I feel so anxious when I try to interact with strangers? I genuinely feel fear with the thought of trying to interact with a stranger a lot of the time. There's days where I'll have, more chutzpah or whatever. I'll have more energy and gall to walk up to someone and say whatever I'm feeling like saying right then, or asking for something. And generally it's not really an offensive thing to just try to talk to someone. People are allowed to do that. I just get so scared of causing an inconvenience. But that's what life really is, I feel like, just a series of inconveniences as we make our way into the ground. So contribute. Why not contribute?
I just get really socially anxious and I don't like it. I want to crack that. And it got me thinking about third spaces, which if you don't know what that is, a third space is basically exactly what it's called. So first place is home, second place is work. Maybe sometimes that's the same place for someone. And then your third place would be where you chill and hang out and be a part of your local community. It could be a cafe or a bar, but ideally it's a place where you don't spend money, like a library or a community center or a skate park or a park, things like that. Sometimes the third place can be a monthly event that brings everybody in the town out, and it's very accessible and fun. So this month, for Asking Around, I went to Art Crawl in Hamilton, which is this monthly awesome event where artists will come out and sell their wares and creations on the streets, and people will sell secondhand items and things like that. But just the whole neighborhood comes to this one street in Hamilton and shows their beautiful aura to the rest of the community, and you actually feel like you're a part of your neighborhood because everyone's out and you're beautifully tolerating each other in this world where there's so much conflict. It's like, I don't know, just seeing all these different demographics come out for one fun, loving night of art and community. Just goes to show that everybody wants their neighborhood to be a fun, safe, creative place. Really feels like people advocate for that when they come out to Art Crawl. We live in such a digital world, and sometimes we can feel more immersed in that than in the world surrounding us. And balance is good, but when we get too involved in our digital worlds, we can end up in this echo chamber and maybe become a bit out of touch with the reality surrounding us. So I think third places are so crucial in the process of putting a face to the others that we've created this us and them conflict with. It's where we can diffuse and find peace and hopefully have conversations that progress us as a community. And wouldn't that be nice? Instead of just yelling at each other, commenting mean things online and ultimately not getting anywhere. I think the most impactful thing for change can be just standing face to face with someone you disagree with. Yeah. Sometimes. Other times that just is really the worst thing. I think that's the magic of a third space, is that it provides safety and some neutrality, which is good when there can be so much contrast between people, and fun, which I think is very healing. I think laughing with people who you disagree with can be very healing and can be a catalyst to change in our hearts, I hope. I always really want to do street interviews, and I love talking to random people. I love doing it, but I'm also a scaredy cat and an anxious mess. But for this episode, I finally went out there on the streets
And the third spaceness of art crawl really provided me with the sense of safety which allowed me to go and introduce myself to different vendors at art crawl. And they were all so welcoming and nice, and we collected some nice insights. So let's go look at that now. And I just finished watching Gilmore Girls, and I really feel like I'm just like in Stars Hollow, taking in the vibes. I'm Rory Gilmore back from a semester at Yale, and the community is just excited to have everyone out here. Okay guys, now I know why they don't call it a didgeridoo. Now I understand why it's called a didgeridoo. Like, I just wanted to say that.
My name's Samantha, or Sam, of Sam Silly Something.
Okay, cool. How long have you been making silly somethings?
I just started my business a month ago.
Oh,
this
wow.
is my first art crawl.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you've been creative for a while. Like, this looks like someone who's been creative.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I work at Theater Aquarius in the wardrobe department, actually, so I'm a seamstress.
That's great.
Artist.
It explains the great outfit.
Thank you. So these are finally, I wear them every day. I've been making them for a while, but I started selling them a month ago because everyone kept saying you should sell them because I've been wearing them
It's
forever.
the perfect art crawl thing as well. Like I don't want to get something that's huge that I have to lug around. Like, it's the perfect art crawl find.
It's small, it's like reasonably priced, you have the cash in your pocket, and it's just cute.
It's gorgeous.
Brings happiness to me
And
others.
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, definitely. And did you grow up in Hamilton? Have you been around art crawl?
I haven't. This is my first one.
Oh, wow.
I grew up in London, Ontario.
Oh, okay.
And work brought me here. So I just moved here in October.
Okay.
But I love it here, and I think I'll stay here for a very long time.
That's great. It is really sweet. It's like a less intimidating Toronto. There's a lot going on. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And it's so cute.
It is cute. And I moved from like Mississauga, Toronto area to come here.
Right.
I love it. It's my home now.
That's great.
Yeah.
And how has art crawl been so far? What's
This
the vibe?
is crazy. I didn't expect it to be this amazing and beautiful and surrounded by just great people.
Yeah.
And artists. So it's great. And I love that I have the musicians right next to me. The
It's so good.
didgeridoo.
Yeah, that was
happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the experimental, because Hamilton is such a creative place, but I mean, when you're just walking around every day, you don't see that, but it's so cool to see everyone finally
Yeah, this is
come
great.
out.
This is such a good turnout. I love being around artsy people.
And art crawl just reminds me of how our society needs more third places and stuff. Like, I don't know, how are you enjoying, what are your thoughts on the third place vibrations of it?
The third, I don't know if I've ever heard that
Okay,
term
so like a
before.
third place is like, so you have home and you have work, and then a third place would be somewhere that it doesn't cost anything to go there, and you get to see like a bunch of different types of people.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I
you
think
know?
that's honestly probably one of the reasons why I did come to Hamilton instead of like living in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's because there's more of a community outside of my work and my home.
Yeah.
Even just like with the nature that there is here and like the groups and clubs and everything. So yeah, I like it. And now that I have this one as well, it's wonderful. I love it.
That's great.
It's a good community. Artists are always fun to have around. 'Cause they're all
Definitely.
friendly. And as soon as I set up my table, I had like 5 people come and say hi and introduce themselves. So
And I bet they
it's
were so
great.
sweet too.
Oh, very sweet.
Yeah. That's great.
I love it.
Man, well, thank you so much for chatting with me. Okay, our crawl was awesome. Now let's talk about the ingredients towards a third space. In Ray Oldenburg's book, The Great Good Place, he defines the 8 characteristics of a third space. Let's get into those, but first I need to go inside because the bugs are making this more of a hostile space than a third space. Don't blame them for that, man. I don't blame them. But I am being eaten. I'm being eaten alive. So what are these 8 characteristics of a third place anyways, Ray Oldenburg? We can kind of consider this like I'm asking Ray Oldenburg, but I'm just referring to his book. All right, let's get into it. The first characteristic is that it's on neutral ground. Let's read what Ray had to say about that. The individual may have many friends, a rich variety among them, an opportunity to engage many of them daily only if people do not get uncomfortably tangled in one another's lives. Friends can be numerous and often met only if they may easily join and depart one another's company.
This otherwise obvious fact of social life is often obscured by the seeming contradiction that surrounds it. We need a good deal of immunity from those whose company we like best. Or as the sociologist Richard Sennett put it, people can be sociable only when they have some protection from each other. I think that's interesting. I mean, I think it just goes to say that we don't own each other, we don't owe each other anything. As friends, it is a joy and a pleasure to partake in a friendship with someone, but we still get to keep our individuality. In order for the city and its neighborhoods to offer the rich and varied association that is their promise and their potential, there must be neutral ground upon which people may gather. There must be places where individuals may come and go as they please, in which none are required to play host, and in which all feel at home and comfortable. If there is no neutral ground in the neighborhoods where people live, association outside of the home will be impoverished. Many, perhaps most, neighbors will never meet, to say nothing of associate, for there is no place for them to do so. Where neutral ground is available, it makes possible far more informal, even intimate, relations among people that could be entertained in the home. I love that. It makes me think about how I really wish more apartment buildings would have like a ground floor that has a really pleasant and inviting like leave and take library with maybe a cozy chair or something. I think a lot of apartment buildings in Toronto have like a really sterile looking like waiting room-esque thing. Not really a place where you really want to hang out a lot of the time. And not really a place where you feel like you are actually invited to stay a while and be neighbors. And it is really nice when an apartment building will try to create an event where neighbors can come and mingle together. And if your building is trying to do that, get involved in it. Like, don't let that kind of thing die out. As cringe and weird as it might feel in the beginning, if you go, maybe more people will come, and maybe it could become something really beautiful. It also makes me think of the community that I found in LA and how it was a lot of going over to people's houses. It almost felt like their remedy to not getting exhausted at being a host was to lose a sense of ownership about their place a little bit. Not entirely, not in a huge sense, but just being like, oh, this home belongs to other people, because a lot of them would have like 3 roommates. So you already know that this isn't entirely my space. And there are other people there, luckily, living there who can host other than you. And also you become friends enough with people who come over that maybe they lose the expectation of actually being hosted. And this is just how it works in this city. I'm sure LA has some decent third places, but there's just so much driving to do. It's really hard to give it credit for that. But I don't know, I do miss it somehow. I do somehow miss LA. And these are only brief excerpts. If you want to learn more, I definitely suggest you read The Great Good Place. Also, I guess third space is interchangeable with third place. I think maybe I've been saying third space when I should actually be saying third place, but it's the same thing. Anyways, Ray says the second ingredient to a third place is that it's a leveler. Levelers was the name given to an extreme left-wing political party that emerged under Charles I and expired shortly afterward under Cromwell. Sorry, I don't know these things. The goal of the party was the abolition of all differences of position or rank that existed among men. By the middle of the 17th century, the term came to be applied much more broadly in England, referring to anything which reduces men to an equality. For example, the newly established coffee houses of that period, one of unprecedented democracy among the English, were commonly referred to as levelers, as were the people who frequented them and who relished in the new intimacy made possible by the decay of the old feudal order. That's a neat tidbit of history, and it makes me really appreciate how even a cafe is just a small radical expression of equality. Still not as awesome as how you can just enter a library for free and stay all day, but it's a small price to pay for a coffee at least, or at least it should be. And I think that how a cafe is decorated can also really
tell if it is meaning to be a leveler or not. Like the cozier it's decorated, the more it feels like a leveler, or at least it just feels like it was decorated by hand. Like when you walk into a Starbucks or one of these more corporate coffee places that's like all white and they have like really uncomfortable chairs or something, it just kind of seems like they're trying to make a business out of it, and it doesn't end up feeling like a cozy place to be equals. He goes on, a place that is a leveler is by nature an inclusive place. It is accessible to the general public and does not set formal criteria of membership and exclusion. There is a tendency for individuals to select their associates, friends, and intimates from among those closest to them in social rank. Third places, however, serve to expand possibilities, whereas formal associations tend to narrow and restrict them. Third places counter the tendency to be restrictive in the enjoyment of others by being open to all and by laying emphasis on qualities not confined to status distinctions current in the society. Within third places, the charm and flavor of one's personality, irrespective of his or her station in life, is what counts. In the third place, people may make blissful substitutions in the rosters of their associations, adding those they genuinely enjoy and admire to those less preferred individuals that fate has put at their side in the workplace or even, perhaps, in their family. I think that aspect of third places is so important as well in the economy that we live in, where if you are living in a neighborhood that experiences poverty more than others, and you're a part of a family that is in poverty, meeting people who are not, networking can help a lot. It can help a lot, and these third places help you get out of that. And when they trap, poverty into small neighborhoods and section it off, it just ends up perpetuating the situation, because they can't meet people who might help them create a better situation for themselves, as easily at least. Hi, do you remember us?
I do.
Okay, great. Do you mind if I chat to you about how it's going? Oh, I'll go over here. How it's going this time?
Yeah, gladly.
Whoa, so how's the energy today?
It's pretty good. Mm-hmm. The weather definitely helps.
Yeah, it was pretty miserable weather last time. I remember things were breaking in the wind.
Oh yeah, and the rain.
Yeah, now we can wear t-shirts, it's beautiful. And have people been sweet and coming up and has it been a nice...
Oh yeah. I think having a cat-themed business definitely helps.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That'll bring them in. It's great. Yeah, what do you have going on today?
I actually have some of my stuff as well as some friends and my partners.
Oh, nice.
In terms of me, I have my candles and my CDs.
Oh, nice.
I have my partner's photography as well from his home town in Korea.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Those are so pretty.
And I have a local friend of mine's art paintings that she's been drawing that she wants me to sell because she works during the crawl time. So.
Oh, well that's nice that you can sell for her. That's great.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Jake.
Jake, cool. And what are you running here today?
Gnarly Native Vintage.
Ooh, okay, great. So what's the motto of your...
What's my MO?
Yeah, what's your MO?
My MO? Okay, I sell curated vintage clothing.
Okay.
Mostly wildlife. Yeah.
That's good.
Indigenous people love that. Mm-hmm. And then, traditional indigenous medicine.
Ooh,
yeah.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
I'm uneducated on traditional native medicine.
Let's educate.
Please.
Why don't we? So there's 4 sacred medicines for traditional indigenous folks. We got sage, cedar, sweetgrass, and tobacco.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
And how's the community been? How is this art crawl?
Oh, I love it. Yeah? This is my 3rd year doing art crawl.
Okay, great.
And I don't know, it's awesome. You get community from, like you just saw, I ran into someone I haven't seen in years.
Yeah.
And also the folks that, I was part of the vintage community, so it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You just get to hang out all night, small business, you make a little bit of change, and yeah, it's good vibes all around.
And has your business been going for the 3 years, or has it existed before the 3 years?
No, for 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
This is my 3rd year. I took a 6-month break, so it's actually my first event back.
Oh,
and that's why art call is nice. It gets it's free.
Motivated.
It's free, exactly. Motivates you. You get in there, get a little bit of change in your pocket, they get going. It's nice. It's awesome.
Yeah.
on to the third characteristic of a third place. I've been saying third space. It's the third place. I'm sorry, it's same thing. Conversation is the main activity. Neutral ground provides the place and leveling sets the stage for the cardinal and sustaining activity of third places everywhere. That activity is conversation. Nothing more clearly indicates the third place than that the talk there is good, that it is lively, scintillating, colorful, and engaging. The joys of association in third places may initially be marked by smiles and twinkling eyes, by handshaking and backslapping, but they proceed and are maintained in pleasurable and entertaining conversation. Yeah, I guess good conversation is a part of the third place, yeah. But I also really enjoy going somewhere with a friend and just maybe focusing on our own thing and connecting through a different way. Maybe conversation can also be a word to describe working on something at the same time or doing a craft together but separately. Like, I think connecting through just doing something together can also be as engaging as conversation at times and maybe even feel more intimate. Many champions of the art of conversation have stated its simple rules. Henry Sedgwick does so in a straightforward manner. In essence, his rules are: 1. Remain silent your share of the time, more rather than less. 2. Be attentive while others are talking. 3. Say what you think, but be careful not to hurt others' feelings. 4. Avoid topics not of general interest. 5. Say little or nothing about yourself personally, but talk about others there assembled. 6. Avoid trying to instruct. 7. Speak in as low a voice as will allow others to hear. Maybe being more mannerful in a third place makes sense. Makes sense not to overwhelm someone who you're not intimately friends with. So I get that there can be rules that we go by for that. But also I'm a big proponent. I don't know how to use that word. But I'm an advocate for being yourself and introducing yourself to others. Maybe that can be a lot to give someone upon meeting. Like maybe we're extra polite in the beginning and then we gradually get to be ourselves around each other. Maybe that's something that you do earn. Maybe it should be something that you earn from people, is their true, honest, full selves. Yeah, good to keep in mind to be mannerful, but don't beat yourself up too much if you maybe talk louder than others, or you talk about yourself. God forbid you talk about yourself. Yeah, that point kind of weirds me out. Like, don't talk about yourself. I think maybe don't talk about yourself too much. Like, I think just make sure to be curious about the other person. But also if someone expresses curiosity in you, like, go off, talk about yourself. I'm sure they would love to know, and maybe you would find more common interests through that. Yeah, I'm into getting to know people rather than just making friendly, polite conversation. I think that's great. And I often, conversations I have are usually polite and friendly. I mean, sometimes you make funny little jabs at your pals once you're buds or something, or maybe sometimes I accidentally do that too soon. Maybe sometimes I accidentally make a joke with someone and then accidentally figure out that, oh man, maybe that sounded mean. I didn't mean to do that. I was just having fun, and I accidentally just said something maybe rude. Didn't mean to do that. But that's the nature of being social. You're gonna mess it up. Like, the rules to me just kind of add more pressure. It's like, dude, if you're going out there and just trying to meet new people, that's a really good first step. So be polite, but also, like, you're not gonna be perfect. Don't expect that from yourself. The fourth characteristic of a third place is accessibility and accommodation. Third places that render the best and fullest service are those to which one may go alone, at almost any time of the day or evening, with assurance that acquaintances will be there. To have such a place available whenever the demons of loneliness or boredom strike, or when the pressures and frustrations of the day call for relaxation amid good company, is a powerful resource. Where they exist, such places attest to the bond between people. A community life exists, says the sociologist Philip Slater, when one can go daily to a given location and see many of the people he knows. For me, a place like that would be a skate park that I frequent. And yeah, it's nice to know in the back of your mind there's places in the city, hopefully in walking distance. That's always great. Where you can just go and you're probably gonna see someone that you know. The fifth characteristic of a third place is that it has regulars. What attracts the regular visitor to a third place is supplied not by management, but by the fellow customers. The third place is just so much space unless the right people are there to make it come alive. And they are the regulars. It is the regular who gives the place its character, and who assures that on any given visit, some of the gang will be there. Yes, I love this point. And it also makes me think of, like, I'm someone who loves to try to host events and stuff. And a lot of the creative stuff that I try to do involves collaboration. And for that to ever come alive, other people need to find investment in what I'm trying to do, because I want to do it together. So I think with that, because I want people to come and feel invited and be a part of the stuff I try to do, it makes me want to be on top of knowing what's going on for other people and what other people need me to be involved with. I think being a good friend is about serving, being of service in someone's life. And that involves sometimes the simplicity of being a mutual regular someplace. Being a regular somewhere can totally become one of the most fulfilling parts of your life. And sometimes just being a frequent part of a community answers that.
Hi. Hi. Welcome.
Thank you. Carly! How about you?
I'm so good.
It's awesome in here.
So this is Carmela's art show. It's from her first year at an art school in Halifax that I don't remember the name of. But my favorite stuff is, first of all, this collage over here. This is how I am inspired to collage. It's like not too much, and it's all pretty and has to do with nature. There's a little bit of drawing scattered in.
Yeah, I love that.
It's so amazing.
I love the freedom in it. It's so free.
There's so much freedom, and I like how, like, just I think when I see telephone wires, I think of houses, and it's I like how it's just like two ideas put together. I feel like this is kind of like
it's like a mind.
Yeah, mind
what
map.
What you see in your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This shading is just beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I love it. It's like, because you can tell that she has so much like technical skill, but she just brings it back to the childlike desire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah. It's all yours?
This is all my first year at Mass. From my first year at Mass.
This is awesome.
Halifax.
Oh, you're in Halifax now?
Yeah.
Wow. This is all yours now?
Everything.
Excellent. And you're just back now for the summer?
Really my best friend. It's okay. That's okay, Carling.
Yeah.
I forgive it. I forgive both of you.
And this is all of the work that I produced. These are all of the things that I learned and tried and experimented with just through my studies. I can do all of the realism work, but I really only really care about play.
Yeah.
And sort of trying to reach each one of them sort of represents me trying to learn how to play and let go of self-judgment and anxiety and critical fear and fear of failure and fear of other people judging me poorly. So just each one is an exercise in trying to learn how to be like a child. It feels really incredible to be in the position that I used to look up to. To like be the person doing the thing and being the person exploring the thing in a real place.
Yes.
That isn't just in my bedroom or in my brain. So I feel really grateful about that.
I'm so happy for this full circle moment.
Thank you.
And as a kid too, how was art crawl as a kid? Like, how did you experience it? Do you remember like how you saw it with those childlike eyes?
Yeah, when I was a teenager, I used to like look at all the work and I used to be like, wow, that is really special, and I don't know how to access that or reach that or be there. I don't know how to like set up, like what is setting up your own work? What is selling it? What is being brave enough to like put yourself out there in such a vulnerable way? And it felt so inaccessible to me for so long. I feel like your like teen years are for like going to shows, like music or art or learning, and then your 20s are like doing your own stuff.
Yeah, trying to force yourself out there, especially in your 20s. Like, there's so much like breaking that for the first time. I'm really crossing my fingers that 30s maybe it starts to feel more natural.
A little more natural and a little more comfy.
Yeah, and you find your voice in breaking that comfort zone, and yeah. The fifth characteristic of a third place is a low profile. As physical structure, the third place is typically plain. In some cases, it falls a bit short of plain. One of the reasons it is difficult to convince some people of the importance of the third place is that so many of them have an appearance that suggests otherwise. Third places are unimpressive looking for the most part. They are not, with few exceptions, advertised. They are not elegant. In cultures where mass advertising prevails and appearance is valued over substance, the third place is all the more likely not to impress the uninitiated. Several factors contribute to the characteristic homeliness of third places. First, in recalling Emerson's observation, there are no temples built to friendship. Third places, that is, are not constructed as such. Rather, establishments built for other purposes are commandeered by those seeking a place where they can linger in good company. Usually, it is the older place that invites this kind of takeover. Newer places are more wedded to the purposes for which they were built. Maximum profits are expected, and not from a group of hangers-on. Newer places also tend to emerge in prime locations with the expectation of capitalizing on a high volume of transient customers. Newer places are also more likely to be chain establishments, with policies and personnel that discourage hanging out. Even the new tavern is not nearly as likely to become a third place as an older one, suggesting that there is more involved than the purpose for which such places are built. That excerpt speaks to me a lot. At the beginning of this year, for 3 months, I was living in a sublet that was right in the center of Toronto, surrounded by high-rises and chain establishments. It was a difficult area to feel like I could really find a third place. You know, I thought that maybe I had found one, and then it's like, oh, it's not a cafe. It's actually a restaurant. You have to pay $25 every time you want to visit. Or maybe it is a cute little place, but people don't come around all that often. And the chains like Jimmy's Coffee could be really cozy, but you could also tell that they were chains. They weren't neutral enough. There was blatant marketing, and it didn't feel homely. There totally are homely places around the center of Toronto, and most cities will have that going on. But yeah, it was just a bit discouraging to be like, here we are in the heart of the city, this walkable area, which is so few and far between in Canada, yet it just feels abused by capitalism. And it's hard to feel excited about that. It became difficult to even be inspired to try to find a third place or a community surrounding that area. There's definitely other parts of Toronto, though, where I feel more inspired to develop a third place and a community. The seventh characteristic of a third place is that the mood is playful there. The persistent mood of the third place is a playful one. Those who would keep conversations serious for more than a minute are almost certainly doomed to failure. Sometimes the playful spirit is obvious, as when the group is laughing and boisterous. Other times it will be subtle. Whether pronounced or low-key, however, the playful spirit is of utmost importance. Here, joy and acceptance reign over anxiety and alienation. This is the magical element that warms the insider and reminds the outsider that he or she is not part of the magic circle, even though seated but a few feet away. When the regulars are at play, the outsider may certainly know neither the characteristics nor the rules by which they take one another lightly. The unmistakable mark of acceptance into the company of the third place regulars is not that of being taken seriously, but that of being included in the play forms of their association. Play has playgrounds, forbidden spots, isolated, hedged around, hollowed within which special rules obtain. All the temporary worlds within the ordinary world, dedicated to the performance of an act apart. The magic of playgrounds is seductive. Having been part of the play, the individual is drawn to where it took place. Not every game of marbles, huizinga, conceded, leads to the founding of a club, but the tendency is there. Why? Because the feeling of being apart together in an exceptional situation of sharing something important or mutually withdrawing from the rest of the world and rejecting the usual norms retains its magic beyond the duration of the individual game. The club pertains to play as the hat to the head. Many couples are certain to have known the feeling to which huizinga alludes. They experience it when, in the course of many social events that are duller than they should be, a magic time occurs. It may be an impromptu gathering with no set activity at which everyone stays longer than intended because they are enjoying themselves and hate to leave. The urge to return, recreate, and recapture the experience is there. Invariably, the suggestion is made, let's do this again. The third place exists because of that urge. I love that. The third place is totally an addiction in a way, you know? It's something you just can't get enough of. And I love that the third place involves world building and it involves creating a playground and a place to be yourself, which I think kind of contradicts a little bit earlier when like they mentioned all these rules of conversation. When they talk about this playfulness and this let's do it again energy, it makes me feel like the third place is a fun place to fantasize about what life should be, what it could be, and how it can keep developing as we keep coming back to it every time. The friends that I can shamelessly share ideas with are the ones that I want to make sure there's some kind of third place that we're mutual regulars at. And that makes me consider my international friends as well. Like I think having group chats or creating chat rooms or a Discord even where you can keep in touch and maybe you can play games frequently together or something, or just find ways to still collaborate from afar. I think virtual third places are definitely a thing too, just in a different sense. And I cherish those opportunities as well, even though they might be a little less frequent.
Whoa. Oh, they come out.
I was hoping they'd do that.
Oh, there's salt and pepper.
Yep, of course. So good.
Art crawl is awesome.
It's awesome. Carling, what do you think about art crawl?
I think it's awesome.
What's the most awesome thing about it to you?
That it's a welcoming space for everyone's creativity. Everyone is welcomed, and you can put out anything, and it's so many different forms of art.
Yes.
And it gets everyone together, and it's epic that they started closing the street down.
Yes. Yes, thank goodness, as they should.
Yeah.
As they should on basically all streets, actually.
Close all streets
All
down.
streets.
It's true.
Yes. Carling, how many art crawls have you been to?
Countless, I would say.
Wow.
I started going in grade 10.
Oh, wow. Did you go with friends or with fans?
With friends.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've only ever gone with friends, and it's always so much fun. I feel like my community of friends keeps building because it's like I spend more time downtown, and coming to more art crawls, I recognize more people.
Yes.
And that's really nice. And sometimes it is overwhelming to run to be around so many people, but like
it's only once a month.
It's only once a month, and it feels nice to just know a bunch of people and all be in the same place.
Like when so many people are out, I just feel like I can do anything I want because everyone's doing things.
Yeah.
Whereas like on a regular day, everyone is like going somewhere and you're not supposed to do anything on the street.
You can do anything on the street.
You can do anything on the street. It feels like I have permission to do things on the street when art crawl's happening.
A special freedom.
Yeah.
On the street.
Yeah. See, you're allowed to do that right now.
Yeah, that's what this guy's doing in the street right now. I think art crawl would definitely be a third space for me.
Yeah.
Because it is all of my friends plus more friends that I don't know who are in the community coming together. Oh, I also like this artist here.
Ooh, who's this one?
I don't actually know. I wouldn't recognize the person, but I recognize the art.
Ooh, that's nice.
And it's always these clouds of color and these little people.
Oh, cool.
I have a couple of theirs.
You have some?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
From one of my first art crawls in high school.
Ooh. That's cool that like people always come back and stuff.
Yeah, people have been selling their art here for so long. Mm-hmm. I get so excited for it. I never forget when it is. Mm-hmm. I'm always counting down the days for art crawl because I guess it really is that third space for me. Mm-hmm. Like I feel so much warmth from it.
Yeah. It's a refreshing spot.
Yeah, from seeing everyone, and it's exactly like when I was a kid. This was maybe grade 9. No, even like younger. I always liked driving downtown.
Yeah.
When I couldn't drive, I was with my parents and we were going home. I always wanted them to take like the downtown route because and I was like so stoked about New York City and there was just like so much, I felt like so much life was going on downtown. Mm-hmm. And so I just knew that I felt excited and I felt alive at the thought of that. And then that kind of morphed in high school I started collecting records in high school and it kind of just morphed into being more interested in art. Yeah. And like knowing that I could probably find that downtown. Yeah. But having no friends to do that with, really, mm-hmm. and like not wanting to go on my own. I'm in grade 9. Yeah. And I live half an hour away. Right. So then in grade 10, I had friends who introduced me to art crawl. Yeah. And it was like, this is exactly what I've been searching for. Yeah. And so I guess I would have found it anyway, but that's when my first introduction was when I found like artistic friends and they showed me this. Yeah, this really connects me to Hamilton. This is like a main reason of why I love Hamilton. Yeah, is that we do art crawl.
We stopped at one of the booths, at the Snafu booth, and we all really resonated with it, and we each got something actually. I got this Winnie the Pooh shirt thing, which I intend to wear as a nightgown. Because I'm moving into a new place and I want something that I can throw on that feels fun and awesome to wear, but like feels like I wouldn't be embarrassed to wear it around roommates. So this is it, and I'm from Winnipeg, and Winnie the Pooh is named after Winnipeg, because
which I didn't think. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
I'll put the actual fact on the screen right now, and that's the fact. You can look that up. And what did you get?
I also got.
Let me stand close to you.
I also got a T-shirt.
Oh.
It's got a cool airplane on it.
That's cool.
Right?
Do you know anything about this? The
Not one thing. But
cool.
I like big shirts.
Big shirts rock.
And this is
Gray shirts rock.
Gray shirts rock. Yeah. Big shirts rock.
And I like this border that it has.
Airplanes.
Rock. Anything on the back?
No, which
that's
my personal preference. I don't like stuff on the back.
Hey, don't look at my back. Don't perceive my back.
I think it'll look good.
I agree.
As a shirt to wear for summer with some big jean shorts.
Yeah.
Yup. Oh, this is a total jorts moment.
Yeah, Jorts moment with the blue.
We just had a jorts moment.
Certified. Speaking of jorts, what did you get, Carling?
I had a jorts moment.
Oh my God.
And these are mud shorts, which is my favorite brand of jean because I found the perfect pair of mud jeans once, and I just like the tag. But they're the perfect little summer short, and I tried them on, and they're loose and comfy, and they're gonna go with everything. And I needed a new pair of jorts, and I got them.
And we all got happy.
We all
And we all got joy.
And I got honey.
I actually had a thought, and it was another great item that I bought at Art Crawl.
Oh, give it to me.
It was, first of all, a dark green shirt.
Oh,
my favorite color.
Speaking of
it
dark.
wasn't this one, but it was a dark green shirt, and on it said, "Never underestimate a woman who watches Star Trek and was born in March."
The perfect shirt.
That's awesome. That's so specific. I love the specificity.
It was made for me.
Yeah.
Wait,
so I bought
when's
it.
your birthday?
It's in March.
What? And do you watch Star Trek perchance?
I friggin' love Star Trek.
Let's go. Okay,
We all know
serendipity.
Live long and prosper.
Oh, I was
Live long and prosper, high five.
Live long and prosper.
This is my third art crawl that I've done in the community. It's always been a really great time. The community is really good, and the whole bunch of artists is really welcoming to newcomers. I've helped a couple newcomers today, and they were really great. Yeah.
That's so sweet. Yeah, and how did selling go?
Oh my God, it was amazing. Yeah, we had a really busy booth, I think you could call it that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's always been super successful. Like I said, everyone's really welcoming and really, really kind. So it's a really good experience every time. And the weather was phenomenal today, so I think that definitely helped the energy. Yeah.
And do you I don't know, have you been selling at Art Crawl for a while? It's been you've done 3, right?
Yeah, so the first one that I did was last year, and then I did the last month, but it was a little bit, the weather wasn't as great, so the turnout wasn't also great, but today was the first successful one.
Yes.
So definitely
busy
weather
tonight.
does really affect how I guess the energy of the whole crowd, but everyone, there's a lot more people than there was last month, so and it's free. It's a free for all. It's also a first come first serve basis, so it's a really, really good space for networking, especially if there are some people who weren't so lucky in making a sale. They're also getting their name out there, so I think that's a really good opportunity. And like I said, since it's a free for all and a first come first serve, there's no expectation to have to pay out of pocket to participate. And there's so much space that we can all fill it
Everyone's
up, even if
invited,
they're next to each other. Everyone's super easygoing about it and not like, this is my space, you can't be here. It's again that welcoming idea. One thing I learned that it's a community organized event, so the city isn't involved in any way apart from closing down the streets and stuff. Other than that, artists come together to have made such a wonderful space for all artists, and it's also really helpful because not everyone has the privilege to own a small business storefront, so it's a really good way to kind of get themselves out there without having to have other stressors that are in place. I have a hanger in my hand. I'm just gonna put that back. But
in the middle of putting everything away. And you live in Hamilton?
I do, I've lived in Hamilton for quite a while. I was raised here. Oh, wow. Yeah. And I used to come to these things when it was just starting and this wasn't as big as it is now. So it's really nice to see it evolve.
I love how passionate the Hamilton creative community is. And it's great to see you out here doing your thing. I'm glad it was a successful.
Yeah, really successful. Yeah.
And does your business have a Instagram or a website or something?
Yeah, I'm at Tiny Taurus Vinted on Instagram. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool.
The 8th and final characteristic of a third place is that it feels like a home away from home. Using the first and second definitions of home, a According to my Webster's, the third place does not qualify being neither 1, the family's place of residence, or 2, that social unit formed by a family living together, but the third definition of home as offering a congenial environment, I hope I said that word right, is more apt to apply to the average third place than the average family residence. The domestic circle can endure without congeniality, but a third place cannot. Indeed, many family nests are brutish places where intimacy exists without even a smattering of civility. Obviously, there is a great deal of difference between the private residence and the third place. Homes are private settings and third places are public. Homes are mostly characterized by heterosocial relations. Okay, old book. Third places most often host people of the same sex. Ooh, now there's a line that I actually disagree with. It's so ironic reading a book that talks about these third places as these magical fantasy places to play with our neighbors and create diverse community. Yet then they say, and it's for the same sex. Homes provide for a great variety of activities, third places far fewer. Largely, the third place is what the home is not, yet there clearly exists enough similarity to invite comparison. Seeking traits of homeness, I chanced upon a volume by the psychologist David Seaman. So, Ray goes through the 5. I'm just going to mention one, the last one that he mentions, which is, finally, there's warmth. It is the least tangible of the 5 qualities Seaman associates with at-homeness, and it is not found in all homes. Warmth emerges out of friendliness, support, and mutual concern. It radiates from the combination of cheerfulness and companionship, and it enhances the sense of being alive. On this account, the score is lopsided in favor for third place, for although homes can exist without warmth, the third place cannot. While homes provide much that is necessary apart from warmth and friendliness, these are central to third place association that would quickly dissolve without them. So those are the 8 characteristics that Ray Oldenburg defines, but of course we can make our own definitions as well, if you want to, from there. And if you want to go read that book, in the next chapter he talks about the effects of those characteristics. One that stood out to me was novelty. Here's a little excerpt from when he was talking about that. Novelty in the third place emerges out of the collective ability of that assembly to create it. Indeed, the extent of mutual stimulation that the third place provides is itself novel. I think it's one of the most beautiful things that the human race can do is mutually decide that we're going to have fun together and play together in a space with frequency. Just warms my little heart, don't it? Later in the book, he talks about the limits of self-help. I think it's so important to know the tools that we individually need to thrive in our mental health, in our physical health, to be helping ourselves. But honestly, it can feel really hard to want to do that when your surroundings are not inspiring you to want to be your best self. I think it's definitely something of a cycle. Living at my parents' place, I've just felt a lot less inspired to take care of myself because it just feels like there's less going on. I'm like, it's so dull. Why would I even try, as morbid as it begins to sound? But when I was living on my own in Rotterdam, surrounded by the city, things are happening. I'm inspired by my friends, and there's neighbors that I enjoy seeing on the streets, and there's markets every weekend. Yeah, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna take care of myself more frequently because I'm actually invested in the life that I'm living. I think you have to be fully invested in your life to want to be a part of your community. And it can take a long time to find. But things are always changing. Something's always coming up. But with that, things are also always going away. You know, one day you have an amazing third place, and the next, it's being closed down because rent was hiked up or something. Or the city's
you know, gentrifying itself. And with that, I try to remind myself, as well as you, that we do have valuable voices, as small as they may seem, that we need to be sharing with our governments and within our communities to advocate for these third places that make our lives feel fulfilling. A lot of the time I don't know how to do that, I don't know what to do, but it does feel like as cities continue to gentrify and everything going on, it just feels like this kind of living is going extinct, but of course that would be tragic, so we just need to be keeping our eyes out on how we can protect the importance of third places and making sure that there's always space for them and creating them whenever we can as well. And adapting and protesting and just being a part of it. Because that's what makes it survive, is the mutual want to have it happen again. So show up and reach out, be a part of your local surroundings, and even, you know, online surroundings as well, as long as we try to move those into real life situations. That's usually how that becomes fulfilling as well. But yeah, protect third places, and I'll see you in the next episode of Asking Around with Tiana Dewick. Bye.